Hello, and welcome back to another video on the 30 things I've learned whilst navigating the workplace. So, today's tip or today's experience from my side is choose the members of your sisterhood wisely. Now, that sounds probably really obvious, but a lot of the times, especially within the workplace, where you might be one of few other women there, the need to build, and in general, we all have a need to belong. So that's not this piece. But when you're one of few, you definitely want to build, bond, and form network camaraderie with other women in the workplace. But sometimes what we forget about is the impact of scarcity on those women and on ourselves, right? So that might mean that you're building this sisterhood, you're trying to build this network, but actually the pressures of scarcity within the workplace might make it a little bit difficult for you to be able to build meaningful relationships. Or alternately, and this is where the concept of exploitative femininity comes from, is that scarcity is so strong, it drives a behavior that ultimately undermines gender equity in the workplace because it pushes women to see each other as unhealthy competition and drives them to behave in a way that is me versus you. So I will allow you, I will create space for you as long as you do not take anything that's mine, because the way the organization has been created, there's only very few spaces for women to come forward. Now, talking about how scarcity is inbuilt in a lot of organizations is a topic that I delve deeper into in Closing the Gap. But aside from that, and I made this mistake as well, I was so much looking forward to being part of something, I didn't take a step back to observe and make wise decisions, looking at the broader context, looking at where I was in the organization, looking at, is there space for growth, and is there space for two of us ultimately? Because when push came to shove, there wasn't, and that meant there was no space for me. But also, I would say, because I don't want to finish this message on a negative tone, absolutely a positive one, is for each one of the women who now still belong to my network, because I continue to choose wisely, whether I've known them for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 15 years, is that all of those women who belong to that network, it transcends work. It's not just about work. You accompany them and they accompany you through job changes, through life changes, through stress, through all of it. So that's just to say that when you take that time, the potential for it to be so much more than a colleague is there, number one. But taking the time to choose your network wisely can bring you relationships that really do transcend your job and last you for as long as you want them to last, basically. So I say choose wisely, because it can really have a positive effect, but choose carefully and go into the situation with open eyes. Could there be a conflict of interest? Is there implied scarcity in this organization? And if there is, how can we work together to create space, as opposed to feeling as though we're competition, unhealthy competition, and needing to push each other out?